Okay, so we have been covering the 2D sketches, the 3D sketches, the different features of 3D drawing. So now we will move into the assembly and drawing. Assembly is basically used to assemble different components to make a complex geometry or a complex structure. So if it is difficult to make a complex geometry in one go in a part, so you need to make different parts of it and then assemble it at the end to get your desired component or geometry. So I have simply made three different parts for example, and we will proceed how the assembly works. These are three different parts. Once you have made the parts, you can either save it on your desktop or into a desired folder, or you can leave them in session. Then you need to go and click on the new. This window will again appear. First we used to select the part, now we will select the assembly. You can rename the assembly accordingly. Click on OK and this window will appear. This window appears. Now you need to import the desired parts here. Click on the assemble. Wherever you have saved the parts, you can trace that path. The parts which I need to get assembled are present in session, so I will click on in session and I will select the part 1 first. Click on OK and this is your first part. This is the 3D dragger, so click on it to activate it. You can use it to move your part in X, Y and Z directions and also to rotate it in the directions accordingly. For example, this blue semicircle is used to rotate this object along this blue axis. You can give it the names X, Y, Z accordingly. This green semicircle is used to rotate it across this green axis, and this red is used to rotate it across this red axis. If you don't want this dragger, simply click on it and it will get deactivated. As you have imported first part, click on OK. This is your first part. Now you want to import the second part, so again click on the assemble, click on in session, the part 2 and open. So your second part has arrived here. Again, if you want to activate the dragger for the second part, click on the show dragger and now you can move it accordingly. You can also change its angle. Sorry, it got selected, so I will again go into the added definition. So this is how you can change its angle, etc. If you want to deactivate, click on it and the dragger will not be shown anymore. If you also want to hide all these planes and axes, simply click on this datum display filters and deselect them all. Now I want to assemble this part somewhere here. I want to place this part here, so there are different options that can be used. These are distance, angle offset, parallel, coincident, normal, center, tangent and so on. We will discuss one by one in detail. First, I want to place this plate here, so I will be using the coincident command for that. I need this face to get coincident to this particular face. So I will select this face. I will go and select coincident from here and then I will select this particular place. So it will become coincident or in line with this face. I now want to bring this particular plate here. So I will select this side, go and select coincident from here and select this particular side. So that particular side has become coincident with this side. Again, if you want to make or place it exactly on this surface, so you need to make this side coincident to the side of the lower plate. So this is how it works. You can see the color has been changed to orange. So that means that you have applied all the constraints and it shows the status here of fully constrained. So you have properly aligned it here. If you want to save the changes, click on OK. So this is how you have placed this plate over here. If you want to edit it left click on it, go into the edit definition, and if you want to delete these particular constraints, go into the placement, right click and delete, right click and delete, right click and delete. So all the three constraints of coincident have been deleted from here. Again, let's suppose we activated the dragger. I will move it somewhere here, and again I want to place it on the surface but at a particular distance. So now I will use the coincident and the distance constraints both. I will select this side, I will select distance from here, and I will select this side. So you can see distance is shown here. You can edit the distance to whatever value is required, let's suppose 22. So you can see it is placed here at a distance of 22. If you want to make it coincident to this side, so you can again select this particular side, coincident, and this particular side. So it will become coincident to this side. If you want it to give a distance from this side too, so you needed to select the distance again for here. If you want to give a distance from this side, select this side, go into the distance and to this particular side. So you can see you can give it distance in this direction as well. If you give it 0 0, so that means it will be aligned with it, and its color has changed to orange, so that means it is fully constrained. Now click on OK and you can save it accordingly. So now you can see we have placed this plate at certain particular distance from the lower surface of the lower plate. Again, let's edit it to use another constraint. If you want to delete these particular constraints, go into the placement, right click and delete all the constraints. Again, activate this and move it away from here. Let's suppose we now want to place this particular plate at a certain angle to this surface. So we will be needing to use the angle offset command for that. You can slightly adjust its position before. You need to select this particular edge, and then first make it coincident to the lower surface. It will become coincident to it. Now you can use the distance command to bring it closer to the surface. So again, select this particular edge, select the distance and give it distance from this particular surface. Let's suppose that distance is 0 0, so it will be placed on it. To place it to this side, we need to give it or make it coincident to this particular side. So I will select this side, I will go into the coincident and into this side, so it will become coincident to it. Now I need to change this particular angle, so I will select this side, I will select angle offset from here and the lower plate. Now you can see the angle here is 34.43. You can change it accordingly. If you want to make it 90 degrees, you can place it somewhere here, or you can adjust the value from here. If you want to give it some more angles, you can change its angle accordingly. So this is how you can keep on changing the angle. And if you want to click on OK, so that will be saved. So this is how you can use the angle offset to place one entity at certain particular angle to another entity. Again, let's go into the added definition, delete these particular constraints and apply some other constraints on it. Okay, we will again move it somewhere there, and we can try some more constraints on it. Okay, so the next constraint is normal. So it will make the one side of that particular plate normal to the another selected side. It will select this side, I will then select normal from here and this, so it will become normal to it. So it has become normal to it. So this is how normal constraint works. You can select this particular side. Okay, I will delete this again. You can select this particular side, select normal from here and this particular side, so it will become normal to it. This is how this particular surface has become normal to this particular surface. So that was how we can use the normal command, the normal constraint, and we can delete it from there. Again, we can use the parallel constraint, so we can make this particular surface. Okay, we will first click on OK, delete this part. You can delete it, you can import it again. We have imported this part again. We want now to make this parallel to the screen, to this plate. So I will select this face, I will select parallel from here and this face. So it will become parallel to this particular face. You can see it has become parallel to this face. So this is how you can use different constraints. If you want to make it coincident, so I will select this side, coincident from here, and here it will become coincident, and select this side, coincident from below in this, so it will become placed there. Okay. Again, to completely place it in the right direction, so we will select this side and make it coincident to the specific side. So now it is fully constrained. Now we need to import the part 3, that is cylinder. As we imported this, so we will study the remaining 2 constraints for it. If you want to place it inside this particular circle, you can activate from here axis display. So you can select the axis of this cylinder and coincident it with this particular axis. The second option that we mostly use for cylinders to be placed in the holes is select the surface, select the centered from here, and select this particular surface. So it will be centered there. Now to place it inside this hole, select this particular side and make it coincident to this surface. So it will be placed directly inside the hole. If you want to confirm it, to save it, click on OK, and this is how it looks like. You have coincidented it with this particular face. If you wanted to make it coincident with this face, so you would have to select this particular face and this surface. So that is how it works. So that was the simple different commands that you can use. These are the simple different commands that you can use to assemble different objects that you have. So this is how it works. We will now simply look into different components that we can assemble. So I will simply open all those components. We need to close this. Okay, let this be open. These are the different parts that I have made, so we can simply check how we can assemble these particular parts. Click on open from here, in desktop, new folder, this base. Okay, so I opened one particular base that I have made: the motor, the coil, the plate, the shaft, and this. So these are different parts that I have made, so we can simply look how we can assemble these parts. I will go into assembly from here, click on OK. That is simply just an example of assembling different geometries to make a complex structure. Click on assemble. I will first import the base part. So you have imported this particular base part. You can change its placement if you want, or you can change its angle accordingly. Click on OK. Now I need to place this plate over it, so I will go into the assemble. I will select the M plate. Okay, so this plate has been imported here. I can change its moment accordingly. Now I want to place this plate over the surface, So I will select this side. I will select the surface, go into edit definition, select this particular surface, go into the coincident and coincident it on this particular plate. To make its placement proper, I will make this side coincident to the plate of the lower surface, so it will become coincident to this. If you want to place it exactly at this end, so select this side and make it coincident to this side, so it will be placed here. Click on OK. Again, if I want to place the same plate at certain particular distance, I will import this plate, slightly change its position so it is easy for me and for you as well. Okay, now click on this side, make it coincident to the lower base, it will become coincident. Click on this side and make it coincident to this side so it is placed properly. Now if I want to give it particular distance from here, I will click on this side, select the distance from here and click on this particular side so you can change its distance accordingly. Let's suppose it is placed at certain particular distance, let's suppose that be 13, so click on OK. So this is how you have placed both the plates on the base. Now we need to insert the shaft in it, so we will import shaft from here. Shaft, okay. So again, you simply need to first slightly change its placement, make this particular side coincident to this particular side. It has become coincident to that side. Now you need to place it inside this, so we need to select the axis of this, select this particular axis and then this particular axis, so it will be placed there. So this is how you can place your shaft. Then again, if I want to import this and we need to place it here, so we will select this surface, the centered constraint and this particular surface, so it will become here. And if you want to make it coincident or give it certain particular distance, that depends on you, so you can do it accordingly. We'll coincident it here, so this is how it works. So this was simply just an illustration of how you can assemble different components that you have made. You need to practice on all the constraints to get experience of how you can assemble a number of components that you have made to make a certain complex geometry. So that was all about the assembly part. Now we will move towards the drawing part. We simply need to close these all. Okay, let's suppose we have got this particular object, or simply we will sketch again so it's easy for us. Okay, yes, continue. Okay, go into the new. Let's suppose we want to sketch certain particular part, so we will go in here, rectangle, change its dimensions accordingly. Let's suppose that is 400 cross 200. Okay, and we have placed a hole in here and it is 50 units. Okay, click on OK and extrude it up to a height of, let's suppose, 33. Okay, or let it be 50. Okay, so I have simply made this simple part, and if you want to make a drawing of it, so we will go into open a new. Now we will select drawing from here. You can rename the drawing accordingly. Click on OK. You can use the template. That means that it will directly give you the 3 views of this particular drawing. If you don't want these views and you want to place it according to your own choice, so simply you need to select the drawing and the empty from here. Let the orientation be the landscape. The standard size is C, so we will leave it as it is. Click on OK. So this window will appear. Now in order to import that particular part, click on General, OK, and left click here, so that part will appear here. You can place here whichever side you want. Let's suppose that be right, so I will click on right, and you can see its right side has been placed here. If you want to enlarge it, so we will simply double click on it. We will go into the scale. The default scale is 0.09. If you want to change it, so we will click on the custom scale and we can change the scale accordingly. Let's suppose that is 0.015. Click on OK, so it will be enlarged. Again, left double click. If you want to change the display, go into the view display. The display style is follow environment, so we can change it to wireframe, hidden, no hidden shading accordingly. Let's suppose that is wireframe, so we'll click on wireframe and OK, so you can see how it looks like. Okay, if you want to draw the remaining 2 views, we will go into the projection and then place its projection here. Again into the projection and place the projection right here. So this is how it looks from side and front and top view. These are the 3 views. If you want to change its display, go into the view display and the wireframe. Okay, this is how it looks like. View display into the wireframe and okay. So these are the 3 views of the particular object that I have made. If you want to place it here, go into the general. Okay, click here, so it will be placed here. You can change its scale accordingly. That was 0.015. Okay, so this is the object and these are its 3 views. If you want to give it dimension, click on the annotate and then go into the dimensions. Left click on it, click on the certain entity, let's suppose this side, move here and then click on the scroller, so these dimensions will appear here. If you want to give this side dimensions, left click, move and click on the scroller. For a circle, left click, move and then click on the scroller. So this is how this is how different dimensions appear. Okay, click on return. So these are all dimensions. If you want to make the dimensions clear, simply double click on the certain dimension. We will select all the dimensions, so click on the press the control button and select all the particular dimensions and then double click on one dimension. This dimension properties box will appear. Go into the text style and change the height. So the default height is 0.15. If we want it to be 0.55 or simply 45, then click on OK, so it will become clear. Again, we can change the style. It's 0.45. Its thickness has been selected, so you do it so it will properly give you the required dimensions. Okay, again you can change it accordingly to give you the required dimensions. Okay, let's suppose that is 0.25. Okay, so you can see it has changed this particular dimensions. Again, we can give dimensions to this particular object too. If these dimensions they were correct when they were small, so some mistake has appeared which has changed its dimensions, so we will look into it again. Simply we have crossed it, we will go again into the drawing, okay, into the empty, okay, general, okay, you have selected the side, we will change it accordingly. Clicked on the right side, double click to change its display. Let's suppose that is wireframe. Okay, you can the three projections you can draw, you can simply change its display again. View display and wireframe. To give it direction, annotate dimensions, click on this and then on scroller there. Click on this and scroller here. Click on this and scroller here. Similarly, a number of dimensions are sufficient to define. So I guess these dimensions are sufficient. It is defining completely what you have made. Click on OK, double click on it to change its style. So let's suppose that is 0.15. No, that is 0.45. Click on OK. So this is how it appears. The dimensions have been enlarged from 0.15 to 0.45. So this is how you can give dimensions to certain object that you have made. You can import it again if you want, general, okay, and here. So this is your object and these are the three views of it. So that was how you can extract three views from the drawing that you have made. So you simply need to sketch the part first, then you need to extrude it to convert it into the 3D. So the solid object you will get, you can then assemble different parts that you have made, and finally you will move into the assembly step, into the drawing step, and you can extract the top, front and side view of that particular object accordingly. So this is how you can use Creo parametric for different features, for different items, and then making solid parts. I hope you have learned and understood how you can make use of this software for making different components and parts in your remaining 3 years of engineering. Thank you so much.